More than 55,000 people are booked into the King County Jail every year. The cost to taxpayers? Enormous. The human cost is even greater. But for some offenders, there are alternatives.
When you were in your addiction, did you ever feel like you were never going to get out of your addiction?
This is the Community Center for Alternative Programming, or CCAP.
I always felt and hoped and prayed on a daily basis, that I would stop, but I was powerless.
There are no bars or jail cells. Instead, this is a one-stop shop for treatment.
It's kind of helping me turn my life around.
All right, good job.
I come from a family of addicts. My dad went to prison when I was 4 years old. My mom, she was also an addict. I started smoking marijuana when I was about 6 years old with my family. So, and I've been a cocaine addict. The first time I did cocaine was I was 12 years old, 14 when I started to smoke crack.
Virginia says what followed was a distorted life of drugs, crime, violent partners, and children she could not care for.
I was released from prison and moved to Seattle in 2000. I've served 2 prison sentences, and I was basically locked up from 1996 to September of 2000.
When she was released, she stayed clean for almost 6 years, but there was a relapse.
After having my daughter, about 18 months later, I relapsed. Just more of the same. Drug addiction, I mean, it's cunning, baffling, powerful, most definitely, but it's a really strong pull. It's stronger than any positive desire or any positive thing that's happened in my life.
The judge in Virginia's case decided she needed to learn some new skills. She sent her to CCAP before sentencing.
I think the best thing that happened to me in this last year is being arrested and coming to CCAP, because it's helping me get my life back together.
And it's very structured. They get an opportunity to examine their thinking of what caused them to get into this situation in the first place. They get a chance to examine their behavior. They get a chance to confront that thinking and behavior, and then get an opportunity to look at different paths to take for the future.
Participants get intensive drug treatment and monitoring, life skill classes, job training, and education.
I have a speech due on Friday. The structure, it gave me somewhere to be. I had to show up somewhere on time. The second thing that's worked for me is the support that is given via the caseworkers, the counselors that work here, even administration. The people that work here really care about our lives.
Just to trim the ends? No layers, anything like that, just a regular trim?
Virginia's footwork includes volunteering at a center for the homeless. She cuts hair here twice a week.
What it does for me is it makes me feel good to help somebody feel good about their appearance that can't afford to pay for their haircuts. A lot of these people are out on the streets and they don't have the money to pay rent, let alone get a haircut. So I just, it's something small that I'm able to do.
That yes, they owe a debt to society, and yes, they've done something wrong. But many of them have drug addictions, alcohol addictions, and I think that if we have an opportunity to get them better, I think that's a long-term public safety situation, than the short term of locking them up.
A couple months after I started doing drugs, I was so bad into it that it was like a drug-induced psychosis. I couldn't go out to the store, I couldn't go anything. I thought my mom was my brother, literally made her show me the scar on her stomach where, it was bad. That was really being alone.
Tina wasn't always alone. Meth did not come into play until she was a junior in high school.
She had a childhood, which was a bright childhood. A kid on a soccer team, working in high school, doing well in school. And then along the way, makes a wrong turn. She takes this wrong turn and leads her down a very destructive path. And she becomes self-destructive in a lot of ways.
I didn't like myself. I was mean, cruel, evil. Totally different than I am now. Just a really negative person.
While in CCAP, Tina wears an electronic home monitoring device. Still, she comes in every day, goes to class, and works with her caseworker. While here, she's earned a high school GED.
Right now, on top of the world. Sober. I can think straight, I'm productive, you know, I'm actually, even though I'm on house arrest, it's kind of like I kind of need the structure. It's a good program. People need it more. I mean, because like I said, if I wasn't here, I'd be in prison right now.
People would say, well, what's your trigger to use it? Like when you get clean there, what's your trigger to use? What makes you want to go out and use it? And it was like, I never had a trigger. I mean, it was like I got up, if I had gone to sleep, I got up, you know, I got high all day, every day, all day. I didn't need a reason not to use.
Tambria was raised in the suburbs. She was a good student and is still close to her parents.
You know, I had a totally little perfect, idyllic childhood, whatever, with my parents, and I didn't do any drugs all through high school. Started smoking weed my senior year in high school, and then the same person who introduced me to weed actually introduced me to meth when I was 19, and just went from there. For a long time, it was what I considered functioning or maintaining. I mean, I had a boyfriend and you know, we lived together, and I had a car and I had a job, so I'd get up in the morning, or I'd have been up all night, one of the two, and I'd go, you know, go to work, do my chores, pay my bills, spend time with the boyfriend who usually didn't know that I was using. So, I mean, there's that whole thinking that's normal, though. I thought that was normal. I just thought that's what you did. I didn't think it was weird to hide an entire lifestyle from somebody. And then by the time I got to where I was shooting, it was just, like, I don't know the way to describe it, but I guess free-for-all would be the best thing. I mean, it was just, I'd do anything. Pretty much anything that I had to do to get drugs, and everything that you say you'd never do all of a sudden becomes the normal.
Tambria's free-for-all led to a string of burglary charges. She was arrested and went to jail. But before her final sentencing, the judge sent her to CCAP.
First, there's the structure of having a place that you are at 9 a.m. every day, you know, and you're here till 3:45. There's programs to help you do any and everything that you could possibly want to do.
Tambria is living with her parents and taking classes from the South Seattle Community College. She's been sober for 6 months.
I never knew you could be on time. I didn't, man. I did not know that was a possible thing. My best ideas for the last decade have got me in a world of hurt. And why anybody would ever choose to follow the path that I chose, and that I made a conscious decision every day to continue following, is beyond me.
We're paying for either holding them, warehousing them in a facility, or we're paying for them to be in an alternative where they may be paying back.
But even supporters admit CCAP is not a silver bullet for addiction and crime. Only about 40% of the people who go through the program stay clean and out of jail. Still, many say it's a start.
That's a big deal. If you go from people who have been lost out in the street, some of the folks have been sleeping in the street, and we try to get them to be successful enough to stop using drugs, to get into a place to live, to get a job, and we're successful with a little over 40% of those folks. We're happy.
I've gotten a lot out of this program, and it's saved me from a really negative place, so I'm just happy.
These kind of programs are imperative to help somebody to be successful. You can't expect somebody to be released that has been committing these same behaviors, whether it be drug addiction or just criminal behaviors in general. You can't expect for somebody to be released from a facility and just figure it out and be okay, you know, and have them come in and UA once a month at a probation office or what have you, and expect that that person is going to know how to do something different or to be able to find their way to have somebody help them. And CCAP provides that. It provides assistance, it provides help, and it provides loving support. All right, there you go.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.